Imagine a world without keyboards, a world without email, a world where the most powerful executives, the titans of industry, the architects of the modern world, never typed a single word of their most important letters. Instead, they leaned into a strange mechanical contraption, a machine with a speaking tube that looked like a telephone from a forgotten dream, and they talked. They dictated their thoughts, their strategies, their secrets, not to a person but to a machine. This is the story of that machine, the story of the dictaphone, the forgotten king of the 20th century office, and how it created a workflow so efficient it ran the world for nearly 80 years. You might think talking to your devices is a modern invention. You ask your phone for the weather, you dictate a quick text message while driving, you leave a rambling voice note for a friend. We see it as a convenience of the digital age. But we are living in the echo of an idea born over a century ago, an idea that didn't start with music, but with business. Our story begins with a name you know, Thomas Edison. In 1877, when Edison invented the phonograph, he wasn't dreaming of recording symphonies. His vision was far more practical. He saw it as a business tool, a mechanical stenographer that would never get tired, never mishear, and never ask for a raise. His list of 10 potential uses for the phonograph had dictation and letter writing right at the top. Music was number 4. The first audio recording ever was Edison reciting "Mary Had a Little Lamb," but the second was probably him dictating a memo about patent filings. The early machines were crude. They recorded sound as grooves etched onto a tinfoil-covered cylinder. It was miraculous, but impractical. Then came Alexander Graham Bell and his Volta laboratory. They improved on Edison's design, replacing the flimsy tinfoil with a more durable wax cylinder. This was the breakthrough. The graphophone was born, and soon after, the American Graphophone Company. They would eventually acquire the patent for the name Dictaphone, and a corporate legend was born. Picture the scene: a wood-paneled office, high in a skyscraper in the 1920s. The air smells of cigar smoke and old paper. An executive sits at his massive oak desk. There's no computer, no laptop, no tablet. Instead, to his right sits the dictaphone. It's a heavy, black, enameled machine. He picks up the speaking tube, presses a foot pedal, and begins to talk. "Miss Abernathy," he begins, his voice calm and measured. "Take a letter to the Acme Corporation, gentlemen, regarding shipment 734. As he speaks, a tiny sapphire stylus cuts a microscopic groove into the surface of a spinning wax cylinder. Every word, every pause, every inflection is physically carved into the wax. It's a physical artifact of his thoughts. When he's finished, he presses a button. A small bell rings, or a light flashes on a corresponding machine out in the hallway. A junior clerk or office boy comes in, takes the finished cylinder, and places it in a tray. That tray then travels to the heart of the corporate machine, a place that has all but vanished from our memory, the typing pool, or for a senior executive, the desk of his personal secretary. Here, the second half of the miracle happens. The secretary, a woman of incredible skill and concentration, places the wax cylinder onto her own machine, the transcriber. She puts on a set of strange-looking headphones called hearing tubes. She presses her own foot pedal, and the executive's voice comes to life, tinny and distant, as if from another world. Her fingers fly across the keys of her Underwood or her Royal typewriter. She isn't just typing what she hears. She is translating. She's deciphering mumbled words, correcting grammar, adding punctuation. She's understanding the context of the business, knowing that Acme means the Acme Corporation of Cleveland, not the one in Toledo. She has to master the cadence and accent of her boss. She knows his verbal tics, the way he trails off when he's thinking, the way he clears his throat before making a key point. She is part editor, part interpreter, part mind reader. The machine is the medium, but she is the intelligence. The final letter she produces is a perfect, polished document, ready for signature. This workflow, this symbiosis between executive, machine, and secretary, was revolutionary. But why was this system so dominant for so long? Why did people desire this seemingly clunky, two-step process? The answer is simple. It was ruthlessly efficient. Think about it from the executive's perspective. Most senior managers in the 20th century were not trained typists. Typing was seen as secretarial work, For them, hunting and pecking at a keyboard would have been a colossal waste of their most valuable asset, time. Speaking is, for most people, 3 to 4 times faster than writing or typing. The dictaphone allowed an executive to capture his thoughts at the speed of thought. He could dictate letters, memos, and reports while reviewing other documents. He could dictate in the evening, after everyone else had gone home, leaving a rack of cylinders for his secretary to find in the morning. It decoupled the act of composition from the act of transcription. The executive's mind was freed to focus purely on strategy, on the message itself, not the mechanics of getting it onto paper. It was the ultimate productivity hack of its day, and the technology kept improving. The fragile wax cylinders, which could only be reused a few times by shaving off the top layer of wax, were eventually replaced. In 1947, Dictaphone introduced the dictabelt. This was a bright pink or blue plastic belt that recorded in the same way by cutting a physical groove. But it was cheaper, more durable, and couldn't be erased, creating a permanent, unalterable record. Lawyers and doctors loved them. Then came the magnetic tape revolution. The Dictaphone Time Master series used tape, which allowed for easier recording, erasing, and re-recording. The sound quality was better. The machines got smaller. And then came the master stroke of portability, the mini cassette and the micro cassette. Suddenly, dictation wasn't tied to a desk. A traveling salesman could dictate his call reports from his hotel room. A lawyer could record notes immediately after a client meeting. An author could dictate a chapter of their novel on a train. The dictaphone became a portable extension of the executive's mind. It was a constant companion, a trusted vessel for fleeting ideas. Holding one of these small, dense, metal tape recorders felt important. It was a symbol of status. It meant your words were so valuable they needed to be captured immediately by a machine for someone else to process. The sound of the office was no longer just the clatter of typewriters. It was the quiet hum of the recording machine, the soft click of the foot pedal, the confident, measured voice of a person in charge. It was the sound of business getting done. This created a unique and profound professional relationship. The bond between an executive and his trusted secretary was built around this process. She learned his business inside and out simply by being the conduit for all his communications. She knew which projects were thriving and which were failing. She knew who was in favor and who was on the way out. She held the institutional knowledge. This wasn't a low-skill job. A great transcriptionist was a master of language, possessed deep concentration, and exercised absolute discretion. The dictaphone wasn't replacing her, it was empowering her. It allowed her to work on her own schedule, processing the recorded words while the executive was in meetings or out of the office. It was a system built on skill, trust, and a shared understanding, all mediated by this humming, whirring machine. It was a world of precision and craft, a world where the spoken word was captured, refined, and perfected into the official record of commerce and industry. For generations, this was how the world worked. So what happened? Where did all the dictaphones go? The same thing that happens to every dominant technology. A new revolution came. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, a box began to appear on the desks of managers and executives, the personal computer. With it came the word processor. Suddenly, an executive could type a memo himself. He could edit it, delete paragraphs, and fix typos with a few keystrokes. He could print a perfect copy himself. Then came email. The need for formal, transcribed letters began to fade, replaced by instant digital communication. The role of the secretary began to shift from transcriptionist to office manager, scheduler, and administrative assistant. The typing pools emptied out, their noisy symphony silenced forever. The dictaphone, the king of the office, was slowly, quietly dethroned. By the 1990s, it was a relic, a piece of vintage tech you might find in a dusty storeroom or a movie set trying to capture the Mad Men era. Its reign was over, but the story doesn't end there. The idea behind the dictaphone never really died. It just went dormant, waiting for technology to catch up to the original vision. Edison's dream was a machine that could not just record but understand and transcribe speech automatically. That dream is now our reality. When you dictate a text to your phone and the words appear on the screen, that is the ghost of the dictaphone. When you use AI-powered software to get a transcript of a meeting, that is the dictaphone's final digital form. We have, in effect, all become our own executives and our own transcriptionists. The two roles, once separated by a machine, have merged into one through the power of software. The workflow is gone, but the fundamental desire remains, to turn our fleeting thoughts into permanent, usable text as effortlessly as possible. The dictaphone is more than just an obsolete machine. It's a testament to human ingenuity. It's a window into a lost world of work, with its own unique sounds, skills, and social structures. It reminds us that the fundamental challenges of business, clear communication, efficient workflow, and the management of time, are constant. Only the tools change. So the next time you ask your digital assistant a question or leave a quick voice note, take a moment. Remember the journey. Remember the hiss of the wax cylinder, the whir of the magnetic tape, and the generations of skilled professionals who turned spoken words into the engine of the 20th century. You are participating in a century-old conversation, a conversation between human and machine, a conversation started by the dictaphone. What old office tech fascinates you the most? The telex machine? The mimeograph? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this journey into the corporate past interesting, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories about the forgotten technologies that built our modern world. Thanks for watching.